I've just started to hear about some people starting to use Twitter, not as a way around email, but as a way around calling customer service. They're just posting a complaint on Twitter, and those companies now have someone monitoring Twitter. They bring them back and maybe go to email.
Yeah, so we have a very active Twitter help handle. It's not just complaints, it's questions, it's whatever. So we actually have so those of you who don't know Constant Contact, not an advertisement, part of our key differentiator is that there's real live people there to help. We know small businesses are not marketing experts. Most of our customers do not have a marketer on staff. Call them, part-time or accidental marketers because they're running their business. And so we want to have someone there to help, whether that's help on the technical side or give advice or guidance even on the content strategy. Someone's there. It started with phone and email, but now we have support people on Facebook, Twitter, you name it.
As I think about it, I may be wrong. I remember a long time ago, Constant Contact started to announce, we're going to start adding all these new services, blah, 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 blah. Then I never heard that again after a couple of years. And it strikes me that you must have decided that, email is our brand. Is this, and then we'll let them find out about the other stuff once they're in the tent.
I think we do a little bit of both. Clearly, our brand is deeply associated with email marketing. And so as you move forward, you got to hold your brand and then expand your brand. So we keep our brand connected to email marketing. But you'll see a lot of email marketing and more. And now we've pulled everything we do together in something called the toolkit. It's email marketing and more. So we do have a broad range of tools, again, not selling, to help small businesses do everything they need to do. But certainly one of our growth evolutions is from single product to multi-product. And we certainly are trying to pull the brand forward into the full range of what we do.
We're starting to run out of time. I'm going to come back with the big question for Gail in a few minutes, but I really want to give you a few opportunities to ask Gail any questions if you like. If not, I'll continue. But please. Oh, yes.
Can you please tell us about your career trajectory and how you ended up in your current position?
Sure. I'll repeat the question because I know we're videotaping. Career trajectory, how did I end up here? So I started technically out of school. Funny story for the women in the room. Should have been an engineer. Nobody mentioned engineering to me. Got to school, figured out I'd started in the wrong school. Ended up with a computer mathematics degree, which is as close as I could get to engineering without doing a fifth year. And actually was, and show how old I am, started in the hardware field at IBM. Pretty quickly realized technical was not the way I would stay, and I went to business school. So I kind of did the learn more about business, always intending to go back into a technical field, but more on the business side. Did a little bit of post-MBA grooming in a management consulting firm, and then went into the software industry, where I started in product management, where you're defining the software product, up through the marketing chain to general manager of a division, and then took the big leap to CEO. I am a first-time CEO. So I've been learning it on the fly for what has now been 15 years.
How many CEOs last 15 years? Very, very, very few. Yes.
Hi, Gail. I know one of the key differentiators for Constant Contact is that they have these authorized local experts, these field reps that can be hand-on-hand for the business owner on how to use Constant Contact. How did that strategy develop in Constant Contact, and what role did you play, and what success have you seen with these local experts?
Asks the local expert in the audience. So one of the, you might remember I started with, we designed the business from the customer in. Well, one of the things we just kept doing was saying, how do small businesses learn marketing? And we were kind of scratching our heads. I'll say the time was sort of 2005. We had 50,000 customers, which sounds like a lot, but there's 29 million small businesses. We were like, where's the great gold rush? Why are they not leaping to us? And so we did primary research. We do a lot of talking to customers and non-customers. And we found out that while everybody knew about email marketing, they were all getting those Amazon emails, they felt that it was out of their reach as a small business. They didn't understand how to use it. They didn't think they had the technical skills. They thought it was going to be super expensive.
Did you do focus groups? How did you get this info?
We do a combination of things,
Okay.
but 2005 was a lot of focus group work.
Okay, I can't understand that. I don't have the budget. It's too complicated. Okay.
Right. And really, I can't do it, we kept hearing. And then we also observed what we called the travel friend rule. Every time you travel, you start talking to the person next to you. Odds are they're going to be a small business because half of America works in a small business. And by the end of the train ride, they were a customer. Like we could teach them in just the time it took to take a plane ride or a train ride. And we said, wow, what we really want to do is reach and teach every small business in their community. Then we're like, oh, that's going to be expensive. Like, how the heck are we going to do that and make money if we're only charging $15 and $30 a month for our service? And we began to invent a model of local reach and local teach. And we tested our way in. So everything, again, good lesson for you guys. You don't dive in. You don't go national if you don't know the math works, right? So we started with 2 cities and we tested this idea of local reach and teach. Would small businesses leave their business and spend 2 hours with us? Would those 2 hours be effective? Would we be able to track the efficacy? And the answers were yes, yes, yes. And so we started paying folks to be these local folks. And then we started realizing there was a much better way to scale, that there were individuals who were world-class marketers and had great expertise reaching and teaching that we could use to also reach and teach and expand our scale in local connections. And we figured out how to find them, how to train them, how to make sure their quality was as good as our quality. As soon as you let someone else speak with your brand, you better be confident. And lo and behold, the Authorized Local Expert Program was born. But it was, 5 or 6 years into that local education strategy before we found that next expansion curve.
Are they partners or employees or volunteers or evangelists or just what?
Yeah, so they're definitely not employees.
Right.
They are self-selected, carefully selected by the employees who are in region. So they are, the bar's really high.
Right.
And then they have to go through a training and certification, and then we compensate them based on a variety of metrics, like how many people they teach.
LinkedIn has a similar model.
Yep.
Just before my last question, LinkedIn, your thoughts on LinkedIn? Competitor, friend, foe, not a factor, what?
Marketing channel we want to leverage on behalf of our customers.
How do you do that then?
So all of the content people create should be multi-channel now. So we talked about email before, but if you wrote great content for your email, why would you not put that on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, right? Why would you not reach the broadest audience in the ways they want? So LinkedIn is one of the channels that we push content to and track response rates from.
And what I wanted to know from you today, too, I think a lot of people do, what, Gail, is the secret to writing subject lines that get opened?
So short, sweet, relevant. So the great news is if you're doing email marketing is that you are a consumer of email as well. So you can just look at what catches you. By the way, one of my favorite tricks is having a folder where you save good ideas from other people. Like, ooh, that's a cool promotion. I could do something like that one day. Put it in your idea folder. Because one day you're going to come up dry and your idea folder will be waiting for you. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So certainly flatter the marketers who send things to you. So then short, 6 words or less, and relevant, usually just what's in it for them. 3 great gift ideas. 2 tips to save on your IT expenses. So these little crisp things that entice me to read further.
Short, simple, with a key word.
Relevant.
Gift ideas, save on taxes. There's got to be a magic word in there as well.
You got what's in it for me? Why would I bother?
My topics.
March newsletter?
Right.
Not going to do it.
Yeah, I would just add, I've learned, I play with Twitter because I'm a news reporter. It's natural for Twitter. And one thing that I have learned that I would just mention is to let it sit for 20 minutes. Don't send that thing out at a first draft. At a minimum, go back at it 20 minutes. And I'll do this with tweets or with subject lines sometimes. And I'll think, wow, that's pretty good. I'm learning to not hit send. I go back and look at it just 20 minutes later. Boring.
Well, I mean, the idea that whether it's your eyes later or your business colleagues or your best friend's eyes, a second pair of eyes before you send is always a great idea.
Gail, it's great to meet you. Thank you for your work on behalf of small businesses and nonprofits. And I see why you've been CEO for so long. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, pleasure to be here.
The relationship between Constant Contact and SCORE is quite obvious. But what a lot of people don't know is that you have a real heart for small business, and you spend a lot of personal time, which you get no compensation. You do it out of your own will and helping SCORE do a lot of different things and different activities to make us a better organization. Could you just share with the group why you do that and what you think the best thing that SCORE does for clients?
So I have a few deeply held beliefs. One is that small businesses matter. They matter to the people who run them. They matter to the communities they're in. They make our world diverse and interesting. They employ 65% of net new jobs are created by small business. So let's just start with small businesses matter. And I love when I walk into a town center or business center and I see unique businesses, not a string of national chains. It just makes our lives better. So it just starts with that core belief. I love small business. I also believe running a small business is unbelievably hard because you need to know everything, right? You may be passionate about, you may be a yoga instructor and you know everything about teaching yoga, but suddenly you're running a business and you have payroll and you have employees and you have to market and you've got to get a lease and do things you've never done before and you will only do infrequently. And so you don't need to become an expert on that. You need to find an expert on that. So I'm a huge believer in being able to tap into expertise and resources you don't have. Often people have asked me how I stayed CEO as the company has grown, and the answer is mentoring. So now we get back to SCORE. I believe mentoring matters. I believe doing it alone is a bad idea. Now, maybe that's because I think out loud. So every time I have an idea, I need to find somebody else to bounce it off of. But most of us are like that. SCORE is your somebody else to bounce it off of. And they come not just with their experience, but with the experience of 11,000 other volunteers behind them. So if you need industry expertise, they can find it. So I think mentoring makes all the difference. And when I learned about SCORE, I wasn't mentored by SCORE because I didn't know about them. Personal mission to have SCORE be better known. I just couldn't believe it was there. It was free. And these people were so good and giving of their own time to help businesses. So that's why I believe in SCORE. It was also a very natural fit between Constant Contact's philosophy, which is we have to reach and teach before people will consume our solution, and SCORE's philosophy about reaching and teaching. So it was a natural fit. I love small businesses. I love SCORE, and the combination was perfect. Thank you.